Click on the subscribe button, especially the bell on the right side. Otherwise, you will miss the latest videos.
Astrology. Vidhan, are you around?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And he has also developed the app Saptarishis, which is available, Astrologer's Desk, which is available on Android phones, and also website is also there. Now it has many great features. Of all the softwares, very few softwares, for example, gives Nadi answer. Now Nadi answer for me is a very important part without which I don't see a chart. And of course, it's impossible to correct Nadi answer. It's very tough. Uh, Now, here the uneven, there are two types of Nadiyamsa. One is the equal division and another is the unequal division. So far the unequal division is being given. Okay. And apart from Parashara Light, I think this is the only software which gives it. Now, yesterday there was discussion on Hora by Yashraj Sharma. And then later Badoria ji has given his views that very few softwares give the correct calculation. Before Vidhan starts on his lecture on Yogini, I would like him to quickly demonstrate the Hora part and how it has been calculated and where we can see it. All yours, Vidhan.
So, talking about Hora, Horas are again, as you all know, that Horas are calculated based on, there are two different opinions about how do we calculate Horas, right? So one is based on Dinman and Ratriman concept. Other is based on the concept of sunrise. So you take the sunrise, start with sunrise, and then calculate the Horas based on the sunrise time. So basically it covers your entire day and night. So that's where this equal Hora concept comes in, because the timing of Hora is same for daytime and the night time also. Now, and in the app, what we have done is we have provided both the options. So I know different people, different choices, and again, we should be able to support everyone, right? So if you want to, if you go to the preferences section, you will find an option of selecting different horas. So what you will find is the hora is your equal and unequal hora is there. You can always make a selection here. And once you make a selection, you will be able to see the horas on this open chart screen. So in this last section will always mention about the hora which is running at the moment when you open this app. And also the Hora is also available in, let's say, basic info. I think it's also available in this basic info section. I'm not able to find it, but I'm sure it is there somewhere. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so that's the point. So both the options are available here. Many software don't have these two options, but yes, in our in the astrologer's desk app, you will find all these options. And again, there are various options also which are available, like the year definition for Vimshotri Dasha and year definitions for calculating BCP, different languages, Charkaraks, and even Charkaraks calculation based on the degrees and minutes, and then theme and whatnot. All these options are available. Okay.
Thank you, Vidhan bhai. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Sunil sir, shall I go into the subject?
Yes, kindly go ahead.
Okay. So today's topic is Yogini Dasha. The interesting right. So today I'm going to talk about Yogini Dasha. So I believe this is one of the most commonly used dasha after Vimshotri, and I know a lot of people use Char Dasha also. So what I have came to know, and what's my 2 cents about Yogini Dasha is probably this is the third or fourth most popular dasha system that is available to all of us. I have seen, especially in the northeast part of India, especially if you go towards Nepal and the northeast belt, you will find a lot of people only using Yogini Dasha. So again, it's a very beautiful concept, and what I am trying to present to you is the variation of Yogini Dasha, which is given by VP Goel sir. So Vinod Prakash Goel, he has written a book on this book called as Snapshot Predictions Using Yogini Dasha. I've been experimenting with this variation of Yogini Dasha. There are multiple variations of Yogini Dasha, and again, different people will say, okay, this variation works better than other, and again, different people, different choices. I don't know if you have started recording, and if not, then Neeraj, can you confirm if are you recording the session?
Yeah, I am recording, sir. Don't worry.
Okay. So this is the variation we are going to learn today. Again, it's a very easy to use variation, but let's talk about the Yogini Dasha first. So it's a nakshatra based general purpose dasha, which means it is not a conditional dasha, which means you can apply this dasha on any charts. The total duration of Yogini Dasha is 36 years, but after 36 years, the cycle repeats. So after 36 years, the same cycle will repeat, and then after 72 years also, then the same cycle will repeat. So again, depending on the longevity of the person, if the age of the person is beyond 72 years, you will continue to repeat the same cycle of yoginis in the same order. So that's the variation which I know about. There are people who will have different opinions. They will want to progress the planets. I have not progressed the planets, and I have found the results to be more accurate and more acceptable. There are 8 yoginis in total, and Ketu does not have a place in this dasha system. This is a little bit about the Yogini Dasha. And this is about the calculation. So how do we calculate Yogini Dasha? Again, very simple calculation. Only 4 steps are needed in this calculation. So we have to find out the nakshatra number of moon nakshatra. So again, it's a nakshatra based dasha, which means it takes into account the nakshatra of moon. So starting from 1 for Ashwini to 27 for Revati, identify the number of nakshatra which is occupied by the moon. Then the second step is we will add 3 to the nakshatra number. So whatever nakshatra number that we find out in the step 1, we will add 3 to it, and then we will divide the sum by 8 and find out the remainder. So here we are trying to find out the remainder. Remainder will indicate the Yogini Dasha running at birth. So this is the basic calculation about how do we calculate the yoginis, what Yogini Dasha is running. And then, so here is an example. So let's say somebody was born in the Vishaka moon in Vishaka Nakshatra. Vishaka Nakshatra has 14th number, right? And then we will add 3.
Sir, it has 16th number.
16th, okay. Okay, so let's assume it is Chitra. So I think Chitra is 14. So yeah, this is a typo here. So Chitra is 14. So if somebody is having Chitra in moon, then we will take Chitra as 14, and then we will add 3 to the nakshatra number. We will get to 17. If we divide the sum by 8 to find out the remainder will indicate the yogini. So if we divide the sum by 8, what is remaining is we will get 8 to the 16, so we will get 1 as the remainder, which means the yogini which is running at the birth is the first yogini. So here are the different yoginis that you will find. So first yogini is Mangala. So the person who is born in Chitra Nakshatra will have the Yogini Dasha of Mangala running at the birth. And you can see here 14 number is here, which means the 14, if you are born in 14th nakshatra, then the Yogini Dasha of Mangala will be operative at birth. Likewise, this has been calculated for all the nakshatras. So again, if you don't want to do this calculation, you can just identify what nakshatra that you are born in, and that will give you the starting Yogini Dasha at birth. Okay. Now, each Yogini Dasha, each Yogini has a planet associated with it. So Mangala is ruled by Moon, Pingla by Sun, Dhanya by Jupiter, Brahmari by Mars, Bhadrika by Mercury, Ulka by Saturn, Siddha by Venus, Sankata by Rahu. And the years which are allocated to each of these yoginis are 1 through 8 in the same order. Mangala is 1 year, and then Sankata is of 8 year. So that's how you can identify the length of each yoginis and what planets are associated with what yoginis, and the nakshatra associated with these yoginis to start to understand the Yogini Dasha at the birth. And obviously, since it is a nakshatra based dasha, so you will have to also take into account the degrees of moon in the nakshatra, in whichever nakshatra it is placed on, and that proportion will decide how much Yogini Dasha is remaining, right? So let's say if moon is halfway through Chitra Nakshatra, which means half of 1 year has already been passed. So half of 1 year is remaining for the moon, right? And then all the other dashas will be full year. So I mean that's the typical calculation of how will you calculate any nakshatra based dasha.
2.5 degree for 1 month.
Yeah, and again it will depend on if it is Mangala, then it will be 2.5 degrees per 1 month, and then if it is 8 years, then Sankata, then obviously degrees will change, and time period will also change. So this is the calculation part of it. Now this is the chart which is this is the concept which is used by Shri Vipul Goel ji. Now what it says is that each Yogini Dasha, whatever Yogini Dasha that you are born in, has a nakshatra associated with it, and this all moves in a cyclic direction. So let's say somebody is born, again going back to the same example, if somebody is born in Chitra Nakshatra, moon in Chitra Nakshatra, so their dasha at the beginning will be the Mangala Dasha, right? And then after Mangala, then the dasha of Swati will come in the Pingala, and this cycle will continue. So that's your entire circle. So if you see here, there are 3 sets of Yogini Dashas in a cyclic order. Now what's happening here is that each nakshatra is assigned a particular dasha. So that nakshatra and that nakshatra lord is also to be seen, and your birth chart also has to be rotated based on what nakshatra is operating, what nakshatra's yogini is operating at that moment. So that's his variation. That's the variation that he added. And the other thing what Vipul Goel suggested is that if you are born in first 3 nakshatras, then for the first time, let's say somebody is born in Bharani, right? So for Bharani born, the Bhadrika Yogini will be operating at birth. After that, Kritika and Ulka Yogini will come. Kritika in Ulka will come. After that, Rohini will come. But let's say after Satabisha, the Yogini of Ashwini will not come. After Shatvisha, the Yogini of Purva Bhadrapada will come. So only if you are born in Ashwini, Bharani and Kritika, you will go through the Ashwini of Brahmari, Bharani of Bhadrika and Kritika of Ulka. Otherwise, you will always go through Purva Bhadrapada, Brahmari, Uttar Bhadrapada, Bhadrika and Revati of Ulka. So that's your normal progression of dashas. So that's the only, because there are 8 yoginis, so 8 multiplied by 3 will give you 24. But there are 27 nakshatras, right? So that's why
Vidhan sir, there is the noise behind you. Is there any problem in your mic?
No, it's not at my end. Okay.
Oh, it is Manoj. No, okay, sorry.
So because there are 27 nakshatras and and if you multiply 8 by 3, you get 24, which means there are 3 additional nakshatras which you cannot assign directly. And for that purposes, what he is suggesting that we should skip the first 3 nakshatras, Ashwini, Bharani and Kritika. We should skip when it is when you are progressing the yoginis. But if somebody is born in Ashwini, Bharani and Kritika, then you have to consider the yoginis for these 3 nakshatras for the first cycle. So that's his variation. So this is the calculative part of Yogini and the variation which is suggested by Goel sir. So now what I'm going to do is we will. Okay, so let me take a pause here and see if somebody has a question for anything which we have covered till now.
Sir, very good morning. Sir, I have a question. Just you given the example.
Manoj, there is a lot of background noise from your side. Manoj?
Sir, I have a question.
Can you type it out, Manoj? Because a lot of background noise is coming.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Durgesh ji also has a question. Durgesh ji, quickly ask, please, kindly.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to clarify that when Sir said that in the first cycle, if somebody is born in Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, then these nakshatras need to be taken into account. But for the other people, those who are not born in this, so in the second cycle from Shatvisha, we'll go directly to Rohini?
No. For after Shatvisha, we'll go through Purva Bhadrapada, Brahmari, Uttara Bhadrapada, Bhadrika, and Revati, Ulka, and then Rohini, Siddha. So we'll skip Ashwini, Bharani, and Kritika in the second cycle.
So how is Ashwini and I can't really, Ashwini and Purva Bhadrapad separate and Bharani and Uttara? I haven't understood this.
So if somebody is born in Ashwini, Bharani, or Kritika, they will have to go through the dashas, yoginis of Ashwini, Brahmari, Bharani, Bhadrika, and Kritika, Ulka.
Okay.
Only if you are born in these 3 nakshatras. Otherwise, you will always go through the yoginis of the nakshatras which are mentioned below.
All right, I got it, sir. Thank you.
I know it's a difficult concept to understand, and I'm happy to repeat if need be. So, okay.
Then can you check the chat box, please?
How to rectify moon degree wise as you give example. Okay, rectification of birth time. I don't think I can cover the rectification of birth time in this session. Okay, but how do you calculate the degrees of moon or the dasha at birth? That's dependent on the proportion of the moon, proportion of the degrees of moon which moon has covered in the particular nakshatra multiplied by the number of years assigned to that particular yogini. So again, this is like Bhogya, Dasha, Bhogya, and Dasha. That concept is there, and it's a common concept. So in any nakshatra dashas, you will find the same concept. Okay. I don't think we have any other questions. So I'll move on to examples.
Hello.
Yes.
Can we make a Dasha, Yogini Dasha, by ascendant nakshatra? Because if my ascendant is powerful than moon or sun ascendant, then normally some of the astrologers use it. So is it chance to get like that, or you have any experience on it?
Well, I have no experience in doing that, and I
Okay.
believe I have always used a moon's nakshatra, and
Okay.
it has given me good results.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the first example. This is a chart of Shri Charan Singh Ji. So we all know that Charan Singh was the Prime Minister of India. He became the Deputy Prime Minister of India between 24 January 1979 and 16th July of 1979. And this is his birth chart. And if you look at the Dasha sequence, so 24 January 1979, he was running Dasha of Dhanya. Dhanya corresponds to the Jupiter. Right, so Dhanya Yogini corresponds. The Jupiter is the planet which rules Dhanya Yogini, right? And then under that, if you follow the progress nakshatra scheme, also like the VP Goel's variation, then what is also to be noted is the Pushya Dhanya was running. So if you see in Pushya and Dhanya. So Pushya Dhanya was running at this time. So Pushya, we all know that it is a nakshatra of Saturn, and Dhanya corresponds to Jupiter. So during this time, he became the Deputy Prime Minister of India. Now let's look at the Jupiter in the birth chart. So Jupiter is with Saturn, and Jupiter is getting in Neech Bhang because Jupiter is with Saturn, and Saturn is in its own house, right? So here we can see there is a Neech Bhanga yoga which is operating. And yeah, and then we also have and this is happening in the second house. So second house we also know is the house of administration. So and then it is also a trinal house to the 10th house. So second house has an important role. So that's why he became the Deputy Prime Minister during this time. And again, I'm not looking into this, is only based on the D1 charts, right? And again, if somebody wants to look at D10 chart and do their own analysis, they can always do that. But here the concept is that we are using D1 chart and we are using Yogini Dasha to see these events. And then he becomes the Prime Minister on 28th of July 1979, right? So this also will fall under this Dhanya Pushya period. Now if we look at, so this is how you will use the Yogini Dasha without too much of variations, right? So without any flavor of what VP Goel sir has been teaching. Now if we rotate the chart, right? So this is how the rotated chart will look like. And the current Dasha is Dhanya and the current nakshatra is Pushya. So what we have done is we have taken Pushya, which falls under Cancer sign, as the ascendant, and we have moved all the planets and all the planets are kept in the same signs. So the planets have not changed their signs. All the planets are there in the same sign, but the ascendant has changed to Pushya Nakshatra. That's what is happening here. Now, if you see here, when he became the in 79, he became the in the July. Yeah, so he became the prime minister on this period, which is Dhanya and Ulka. So Ulka is also ruled by Saturn and Dhanya is ruled by Jupiter. So now see here, when you rotate the chart, both Jupiter and Saturn will be there in the 7th house. And we know that Jupiter is getting a Neech Bhang Raj Yog since it is happening in Kendra. And since Jupiter is the lord of 9th house, so this is a Neech Bhang Raj Yog. And this is happening in the 7th house, which is 10th from 10th. And this is also happening in the Kendra. And it is also aspecting the ascendant. So all this is happening in his chart, and we can see that Dhanya, which is Jupiter, and Ulka, which is Saturn, the Yogini of these two planets are operating, and that is elevating his status to become the Prime Minister of India. The third concept that VP Goel suggests is that also look at the Lord of Nakshatra. When you are looking at the Yogini, also pay attention to the current Nakshatra Lord. So here the current Nakshatra Lord is Saturn. So here also Saturn is coming into picture. And again, as I said, Saturn is aspecting ascendant. Saturn is giving Neech Bhang Raj Yog to this Jupiter. And it is in the 7th house, which is house of people and also the house of Sukshma Karma. So 10th from 10th is the 7th house. So that's why Saturn's placement with Jupiter in the 7th house is making him the Prime Minister of India. So this is one of the examples.
Sir, here also we can say that the 10th Lord Mars can aspecting the original natal 10th Lord, the Mercury. That is also the aspect. I mean, 10th event is going to happen like that.
Yeah. So again, yes, we can do that. But for us, the most important concept here is what is the dasha which is running, what is the antardasha which is running, and what is the ruler, where is the ruler of nakshatra is placed. So these are our three most important parameters. If you have to really use and master VP Goel's variation, then if we pay attention to these three concepts, then we will be more successful. Okay, I'll go to the next example. So this is the chart of Steve Jobs. Now the event which I want to talk about is he opened Apple Computer Company on 1st of April 1976. So we'll first look at the normal way of looking at Yogini Dasha. So 1st April 1976 is the date. So on 1st April 1976, he was running Dasha of Sankata and Siddha. Right? So the traditional Yogini is Sankata plus Siddha. So Sankata is your Rahu, Siddha is your Venus. So this combination is happening in the 5th house, right? And the Lord of 5th house has gone into 11th house, right? So that indicates 5th house is the house of new beginnings. So he started his business venture here. It's a new beginning. It is also the house of, it is also house which is 8 from the Karma Sthan, which means something transformating is happening to the karma of a person. That's why 5th house is very important for the career perspective. Especially if you are looking for a job change, then 5th house becomes a very important house. Because 5th house is 8th house from the 10th house. So all this is happening in the 5th house. So Venus and Rahu is playing a major role here, and he is establishing a company here. And again, if you notice, Venus is the lord of 10th house. So something to do with the career. right? And then if you take the dual ownership of Rahu, so Rahu becomes the lord of your Aquarius sign, right? So seventh lord Rahu will act like a seventh lord. So seventh lord Rahu, seventh lord and the 10th lord, seventh house and the 10th house is activated, and all this is happening towards in the fifth house. So that's how he's forming Apple Inc. He's forming Apple Computer Company in the April of 1976. Right. So this is your traditional Yogini Dasha. But if you want to use your progress ascendant concept, which is given by Shri Vipul Goel sir, what you will see is the Dasha will be running, the current nakshatra will be Mrigshir. Right. So if you rotate the chart, then the chart will be, then this is your rotated chart when Sankata is running and the current nakshatra is Mrigshir. So and then again what you will notice is Sankata and Siddha. So Sankata and Siddha, which means Sankata is Rahu and Siddha is Venus. So all these two planets are sitting in the seventh house. Seventh house is the house of business. It is the house of enterprise, and this is the and what he did is he formed his company, Apple Computer Company. Right. So in this progress chart also we can see how beautifully Yogini Dasha is indicating to us what kind of event is happening. Okay. Any questions on this?
Vidhan ji?
Ji. Yeah, go ahead.
The difference you told between this progress chart and the earlier chart, can you explain it again? What has happened?
So this is the natal chart, and what we are paying attention is the dashas, right? So the dasha of Sankata and Siddha was running when he formed his company. Right. So here we are not rotating the chart, but we are looking at the planets which are corresponding to those yoginis. Right. So Yogini Dasha of Sankata, which is Rahu, and Siddha, which is Venus, is running when he formed the Apple Computer Company. So this is without rotation. So this is your traditional way of applying Yogini Dasha without progressing the chart, without changing the ascendant. But what you see here is that we are rotating the chart, we are making the ascendant which is corresponding to this Mrigshir nakshatra, and then we are looking at the chart and see where the planets corresponding to the yoginis are placed. Right. And then we also see that the lord of Mrigshir nakshatra, which is Mars, is there in the 11th house of gains. And it is also forming in the Kam Trikon. And it is also supporting Venus and Rahu from the 7th house and making him successful in his business enterprise.
Thanks.
Then just one question. And this is, if suppose somebody is starting, say, from Ulka, Pusha Nakshatra, so will you say that his next cycle or the next paraya will go to Vrishchik, Anuradha? Will you take it like that, or is it that you will, how will the progression happen after the 36 years?
So after 36 years, I mean, no changes. We will follow the same scheme.
No, I want to understand from the house reference point, because I'm not that well versed with this Yogini Dasha. So I want to understand. So if I'm starting with, say, any one particular star and that is the position for my Yogini, what happens after the 36 years? How do we tackle that part? Or do you take the same star as a reference?
So let's say somebody was born with a moon in Adra Nakshatra. So
Yeah, correct.
after 36 years,
Will
he
you
will-
take Swati?
yeah, after 36 years, we will go into Chitra Nakshatra.
Okay.
And then Swati, Vishaka,
Okay.
and this normal order will continue.
So then the house reference for that particular paraya will start from Mangala. So 37th year, we will say that he will enjoy the results of Mangala. And
Correct.
wherever this Chitra Nakshatra is falling. Will
Correct.
that be a right assumption?
Yes, yes. Now, Chitra, again, one thing I will call out is, since Chitra falls, half of Chitra falls in Virgo sign and half of Chitra falls in the Libra sign. So the ascendant will also progress, like for the first half of the first half, for first half of, so again, you will have to take into consideration the proportionately you will have to change the ascendant also.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks.
So in this
helpful.
Mangala Chitra, you will also have, you will sometimes the ascendant will be Virgo to begin with, and then in the later half, it will be Libra.
Okay. And what happens to the sub periods? Like, again, that Chitra will become the reference point for judgment, or you still
Correct.
take the Lagna as the central point for reference there?
No, so for sub periods also, the ascendant will remain, Chitra will be the ascendant.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so
Sir, here it is independent of the Kochar, no, sir?
it is independent of Kochar.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vidhan Ji.
Yes.
Yes, I just have a curiosity, like why this is called Yogini Dasha? Because is it something to do with the Chaucer Yogini, or have you, I'm just curious, have you found out why it is called Yogini, or any idea?
Yeah, so why it is called Yogini Dasha? Because it is used in the tantric cults also. These are the 8 prime yoginis that corresponds to. It has some linkages with the tantric meditations and tantric rituals. Again, I'm not well versed with why these names are given to these 8 yoginis.
Vidhan sir, if you let me speak, I can answer this question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so if you read Rudrayamal Tantra is a tantric text. So in that book, there are 4 kind of astrological tools are mentioned for the timing of event, especially in Kali Yuga. So one of them is this Yogini Dasha. Okay, and this is a purely a tantric base. You can use it as an astrological purpose also. Also, they are using it also for the tantric practice. Now, how to use that thing in tantric practice, there is a different thing that if you are interested, you can read that book. And in that same book, there is another tool, we call it Sarvoto Bhadra Chakra. That is also mentioned in that book, Rudra Yamal Tantra.
Rudra?
Like this, there are Rudra Yamal Tantra. So, like this, there are 4 different predictive tools which is prescribed for the Kali Yuga, especially for Kali Yuga. So one of
This
them is
is
this
given by
Yogini.
Lord Shiva or something
Yes,
like that?
yes, by Lord Shiva himself.
Oh.
Even if you read the history of this Yogini Dasha is given by Lord Shiva himself to Goddess Parvati. And he told, like in Kali Yuga, this is the only Dasha which is easy to apply for the human beings.
Okay. Okay. So, Vinayak ji, can you mention the name of the book and which version you found?
Rudrayamal Tantra, see, there are, I know 2 versions. One is from the Chokhamba publication, and simplest one you can get from the Ranjan publication. Okay, Ranjan publication, Rudrayamal Tantra. We have that book in our store. So if anybody interested, they can buy this
Yeah, if you can share the link, because I think
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people are commenting also.
Also,
that,
that book is, see, you will not find any detailed description about Yogini Dasha and all in that book. Okay, there is a one or two paragraph. But if you read some other, I don't know, other books of Hridayam Tantra, maybe they are there in which we can read detailed subjects. Okay, but you can get an introduction about this Rudra and this Yogini Dasha and Sarvata Bhadra. Sarvata Bhadra in Hridayam, it is mentioned you can invoke the all possible deities in Sarvata Bhadra, and they will predict for you. You can invoke the nakshatras, you can invoke all these parameters in Sarvata Bhadra. There is a yantra. In Vedic tradition, whenever we do any puja and things, so they made a Sarvata Bhadra yantra.
Yes.
And they invoke the all deities. Like, it's a complete different process.
Okay, okay. We should do this sometime in person by finding the experts.
We can do that.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Even in South India, almost 85% of Vedic Pandits are in, what we call designing that Sarvata Bhadra yantra in every puja.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, Vidhanji. You can continue.
Thank you, Vedanta. Thank you, Vinayak.
Sir, may I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, first of all, I would like to really thank you from the bottom of my heart, because these two books are still there with me, which I am using quite often. That is Predicting Through Nakshatras. Marvelous, wonderful book, sir. Thank you so much. And sir, the question which pops to the top is, can we use Yogini in all the divisional charts, or it is restricted to few divisional charts only? Like, for example, D10, D9, can you use them?
Okay, so I think it is, we probably can use it. I have not used it. I use it on the D1 chart, but again, I think what I strongly feel is that let's first master using Yogini Dasha on the D1 chart first, and then go into the divisional charts. That's my take on it. Again, but if somebody is research oriented, if they want to experiment with it, yeah, nobody stops.
Thank you, sir. And the sir, second thing is, if you could help me, sir, can we, is there any possibility, or shall we use also the like nakshatra progression we are making in this? So can we also use the nakshatra pada lord in this? That would that also come into account?
Nakshatra pada lord. Maybe we can use it. I have not used it, but somebody wants to try it, then yeah, why not?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So yeah, these are the two examples which I have. What I wanted to do is I wanted to do like a live chat. So somebody has an event which has already occurred. Don't ask me about the future events, but if somebody has a live chat, if somebody wants to share Padosi ka chart or neighbor's chart or whatever, and with an event, we can review it. And whoever types in the chat box first, we will ask that person to share.
Vidhanji, what kind of event?
Any kind of event. Marriage, be it marriage, childbirth, or starting up an enterprise or whatever.
I think Ranjana has written.
Okay, so this is the date of, okay. And what kind of event? Started business, okay. So, and just so that you are aware, we have implemented this Yogini Dasha in the Saptarishis app. Saptarishis.net is the website, and we can now look into the.
In this that Yogini Dasha which comes in your app, it is progressive, Lagna?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
So, When was the business started?
I initiated like in the month of March, but got the approval like in April, and since then I'm into it.
March or April of this year, 2020?
2020.
Can you type in the details, please?
Yeah.
So if you go to dashas, and then you will find Yogini here. Again, I have only North Indian chart, but I'll also download the chart and we'll share it. So when did the business start? In April of 2020 or 2021? 2021. Okay, so this is the chart. And the business started in April of 2021. So
Yes.
we'll go to dashas. So the current dasha is Brahmari and Purva Bhadrapad.
Sir, I got the approval on 27th of April. I remember
Sorry?
the date. I got the approval of my business, means registration and all documentations done, and got the approval, and the company got registered on 27th of April to 2021.
So the dasha which is operating is Sankata and Brahmari.
Okay, sir.
Right. So Sankata is
Saturn.
your Sankata is which planet?
Rahu.
Rahu, and Brahmari is
Mars.
Mars. So Rahu and Mars both are in ascendant,
Okay, sir.
right? Mars is the 10th lord, and Rahu is co-lord of Aquarius. And Rahu and Mars both will aspect your 7th house of business. Right. So and then Jupiter is aspecting Rahu and Mars, and this is the progress chart. So this is based on the progression. And nakshatra is Purva Bhadrapad. So who is the lord of Purva Bhadrapad nakshatra?
Guru.
Jupiter.
Sorry?
Guru, sir. Jupiter.
Jupiter. So
Yes.
Jupiter is aspecting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Jupiter, also to note, Jupiter, Sun is in the sign of Jupiter. So there is a Sun is in the sign of Jupiter also, and Sun is the lord of 7th house.
Yes.
So Sankata and Brahmari, if we do without progressing the ascendant, Sankata and Brahmari will be. We look at the chart. Sankata is Rahu, and Brahmari is Mars, right? And 7th lord Jupiter is aspecting. Yeah, 7th lord Jupiter is aspecting it.
10th Lord Jupiter is in 5th house.
Sorry?
10th Lord Jupiter is in 5th house, change of new happening, starting of this one.
Correct. So here also, yeah, but correct. So if you see from the nakshatra lordship, then yes, it is the 10th Lord Jupiter, which is in the 5th house of starting something new.
Yes, sir. I left my job in 2nd of March and then initiated the business.
Correct. So basically, yeah. So this
Total
9th house
transformation
also.
from the
9th
previous
house is
job.
the yeah. So 9th house is your 9th house is your 10th from the 12th from the 10th house, right? So anything which is happening in the 9th house can upset your career, and whenever changes are happening in the career, again 9th house has a role to play.
So what kind of results we are going to expect, sir? Or it will progress or like it's going to?
బాగుంది బాగాలేదా చూడు
Yeah, so again, result will be dependent on Saturn, Mars, and Rahu. Jupiter is aspecting. So again, results will depend on many other factors. But yes, this looks to be like a. Again, I should not say much. Sunil sir kind of warned that okay, be careful about this. So
No, sir. Actually, I just don't want any prediction. I just want to say how we are going to calculate and what like results we are expecting to, like in this case, if somebody is running this kind of progression or whatever the progression is.
okay, so just to give you a little bit more color about this Yogini Dasha. So in the traditional sense, in very traditional sense, if you see the dashas, like all the Yogini dashas, so Yoginis are considered, can be classified into benefic Yoginis and the malefic Yoginis. We all know that there are functional natural benefic and natural malefic planets. So what you see here is this is Brahmari and Sankata, which is Rahu and Mars is there. So if anything related to Rahu and Mars is there in your business, then it is good. Otherwise, by the very definition, these two are the natural malefic planets. So they will tend to give not so great results. But if the business is related and looks like, since you have this combination of Mars and Rahu, it can be something to do with the electric items, and if the business is related to any of these, then it is
Yes,
probably
sir.
going to give you good results.
Yes, sir. I do have.
Okay, so
And it's related to import export as well. So maybe like it's denoting the 12th house. So we can repeat that. We can take the significance of all 12.
yeah, all the significations you will take and you'll come to a conclusion.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Amin bhai, I think we are good. So if there are no more questions, then we can probably stop.
Thank you, Vidhan. Amit bhai, are you there? Okay. Vinayak, are you there? Thank you so much, Vidhan.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful presentation. Okay. And
Yes, sir.
Just Vidhan, if I can request you to post the app link in the chat box so that people who have not downloaded your app on their phone, they can download it.
Sure. So
The app is many portions of it are free and many portions of it are paid also, like the reports and all that. So I appreciate, Vidhan, you staying late. You are in US and you're staying late for this
no
lecture.
worries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Nitesh, can we stop the recording?